spend on do what it takes to get that customer. And we've used that principle throughout. To me, that's the opportunity that any software company, and I'm sure Microsoft is doing it, or I'd love to hear more about how Steve's doing it. How are you making yourself relevant to a client and not talking technology, not talking about costs, not talking about return on investment, just saying, you know what, you're going to be dead without me. If you don't invest in this newfangled thing that I've done here, you're not going to be relevant anymore. And then I think your margins will actually improve.
I think that's a very good insight. I'd probably add one thing to it myself, which is you got to be able to say, what does this do for my customer? And you've got to be able to turn to your employees and say, well, what does this do for you?
Right.
Will you advocate for what it means to you, just as the customer might advocate for themselves? We went through a period when companies weren't sure that they should give employees personal computers, and the reason why, this is 10 years ago, the reason why this changed, simple. Employees coming out of school said, are you crazy? How can we possibly do anything without a computer? And so I think you have sort of two constituencies to apply Anand's lens to, the customer first and the employee second.
Interesting cue to ask Steve something about his favorite topic and everybody's favorite topic, cloud computing.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you a little primer on cloud computing. I've been using that word, spewing it out, trying to sound smart wherever I went, and I'm still confused. What the hell is it? You know, is it, remove the clouds around the cloud for us,
the confusion around it.
Demystify it for us, will you?
I'll do that. I will tell you that in some senses, people are fair when they say it's a buzzword, because it's not one thing. But let me tell you how I would simply characterize it. The PC has been a wonderful innovation, and it has benefits versus anything else. The Internet has been a wonderful innovation, and we have a little thing called the browser that puts them together, but they really are like two separate worlds in most cases. How do they come together? The Internet's this wonderful innovation, and yet most enterprises keep their IT systems separate from the Internet and separate from one another for a variety of reasons of security and reliability, etc. How do we let those two things come together? The mobile phone, same thing. How do we let these things integrate? That's one aspect of the change that the cloud represents. And it means we'll have new tools to write programs more efficiently with better user interface. That's what it means to technology people.
Okay.
On the flip side, the Internet has been, to some degree, about, all of computing is about putting people closer to other people and people closer to information. Wow, there's all this amazing information on the Internet, and you have to go look for it. But we can't write programs that puts it together and hands it to the user. That's not how the world has worked. You don't scour economic data and then write on the Internet and write an application that answers exactly Anand's question. It's just not possible today. We need to improve that. The way we interact. I can send you email, you can send me email, but if the three of us wanted to just have our own little private website to set up and send around questions in advance or whatever, we would wind up just emailing. There's no way to have a private sort of place. Social networking has opened up our eyes. So you take two phenomena, a new way of writing programs and a notion of using people and data. You're not just writing programs, you're also writing programs that know about people and data.
Okay.
Those two things are what's different about the cloud. And then we get to innovate around those concepts.
But in some ways I've noticed that you've suggested that India, which sort of tends to jump from one revolution to the other by giving another one a skip, like we went straight to mobile phones without having, the love for the landline. Cloud computing is going to give us that big leap in technology as an emerging market?
The way I would say this is yes. There are plenty of businesses which have not automated, far more businesses that are not automated in this country than in more developed economies. They will skip, many of them, the notion of putting in a server and having that kind of an IT department. They will go to a set of applications written by Microsoft or Satya or many, many other companies that they will subscribe to through the internet that use this new cloud approach.
Excites you?
Certainly does, but I presume a lot of the original equipment manufacturers are not excited because so how does Cisco and all the other manufacturers feel about this? Do they feel threatened? Do they see it as real?
No, I don't. No, it's an exciting opportunity because it'll cause an explosion of usage. But because it's sort of a revolution, it's also a chance for anybody who's an established market leader to lose position. We have some areas of strength. Everybody's saying, oh, the move to the cloud could be bad for Microsoft. Cisco's got strength. Oh, the move to the cloud could be bad for anybody. But if you wanted a business that never changed and where everything was safe, information technology is not the right business to be in. It's a business built upon major and important disruptive transitions.
But then you see, in the past there has been, often criticism that sometimes Microsoft and its life cycle might have been ahead of the times in technology, and therefore when they came up with their ideas, the world wasn't ready for it. Is cloud computing a real piece, or do you think we're still a step ahead?
We have millions in our large customers, we have lots of customers who are moving with us. Millions of their employees have already moved with us to the cloud. Now, do I predict every part of what is possible in the cloud is going to change overnight? No, but if you don't invest early enough, you're in trouble. On the consumer side of the technology business, the cloud is happening right now. It's happening right now, whether you're on a mobile phone or you're on a PC. It's happening right now.
Now, I'm just asking you that you never think of an American IT company having to do CSR or create opportunity. You presume it always existed in America, the land of opportunity. Whereas in India, every IT company is told, create opportunity, go to rural India, UID, do some work which is benefiting a poor nation. Now, you're not a poor nation, but do you think Microsoft can help in some way? Is it access to education technology that is removing or reducing mobility? I'd love to hear your views on that.
It is access. The number one priority, we would argue, from a CSR perspective, for us in the U.S., is really all about education. Right. It's about science, technology, engineering, and math particularly. It's about using information technology and IT and digital literacy skills. 85% of jobs within the next 5 years in the U.S. are going to require IT literacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So absolutely, when you look at our investments in the U.S. that are both good for the society and good for us in the long run, they all do focus in on education, IT skills, digital literacy, and as important as those things are here in India, they're important because at the end of the day, this sort of protectionist sentiment is going to correlate as much as anything with unemployment. And that's the thing we got to get after. I don't know about the Gini index and all of this, but as long as people aren't working, there's going to be a set of issues at least to deal with.
I think there's a lot of curiosity back here about the unique identification project that we are now seeing work under Nandan Nilekani. Do you think Microsoft could have a role to play? And if not, then what in many ways could technology do to that? Because this is a first, to have a unique ID number here.
Well, I think at the end of the day, that is a technology problem. Now, I should probably let Anand talk about it because I'll tell you, there's an expression we use, at least in the U.S., to a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So to a guy who runs a software company, everything looks like a software problem. So, but specifically in the area of identity, it is, I think, important. Information technology is the way to vet